Hello, friends. Welcome to True Crime with Serena. Have you ever wondered what happened to John Wayne Gacy's house, one of the most notorious houses in the United States? The world's most notorious serial killer, John Wayne Gacy, assaulted and murdered at least 33 young males there. Let's get into it. John Wayne Gacy was an infamous American serial killer and sexual predator that was responsible for the murder of over 33 young men and boys. According to Gacy himself, the deranged killer committed all the murders in his ranch house in Illinois. Given the terrified brutality of his crimes and the sheer number of victims he has amassed in his active years, John Wayne Gacy is considered one of the worst serial killers in U.S. history. The John Wayne Gacy house was located near Norridge, a village in the unincorporated Norwood Parkship Township of metropolitan Chicago, Illinois. This was the site where Gacy reportedly lured his victims to assault, murder, and bury them. The John Wayne Gacy ranch-style home in the Chicago looks surprisingly unremarkable at first glance. Gacy purchased the property with the help from his mother and lived there until his arrest in 1978. Downstairs, the John Wayne Gacy basement housed a recreation space with a tiki-style bar where Gacy often hosted theme parties for neighbors and friends. Under the careful visage of a regular suburban home, however, a mortifying truth was hiding just under the surface. What no one could have realized during their visits to the Gacy residence was that they were likely surrounded by tortured, murdered victims buried just beneath their feet. While guests had always noticed a foul smell inside the house during their visits, Gacy quickly explained this away as moisture buildup. Moisture buildup. Serial killer John Wayne Gacy's home address, aka the site of his murders, was 8213 West Somerdale Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60656. He changed the address to 8215 West Somerdale Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60656. Thankfully and unsurprisingly, the original John Wayne Gacy home on Somerdale Avenue is no longer standing. The home was demolished in 1978 during the thorough search for the dozens of victims buried on the property. In 1988, a new home was built on the site of the former Gacy residence by the Jerkensey family. The new home built on the lot is far nicer than the home that previously occupied the space, featuring a large family room with a double-sided fireplace, as well as fully upgraded kitchen, lot space on the second floor, and a spacious basement. Who'd want to go in that basement? While the new home bears little resemblance to the former residence at 8213 Somerdale Avenue, even donning a new house number, the idea that dozens of bodies were buried on the site does still leave a dark stain on the location immortalized by death. The home was placed on the market in August 2019 for $459K, but would end up selling in 2021 for $395K, according to property records. 20 bodies in total were found at the John Wayne Gacy home, 26 which were buried in the crawl space beneath the house, and the remaining 3 placed in other areas on the property. Photos of police excavation in this crawl space paint a gruesome picture of unenduring horrors. Every number flag in this picture shows where remains were found. Gacy buried bodies so close together sometimes that police suspected the killings were performed at the same time. This theory was proven correct when Gacy himself admitted he would sometimes kill more than one victim in a day. That's terrible. If you ever seen a film about a psychopath that dresses like a clown and kills people, chances are the writers took direct inspiration from John Wayne Gacy's case. Nicknamed the Killer Clown in the media, Gacy was known for dressing up as his clown alter ego, Pogo the Clown, and visiting children's hospitals as well as performing at parties. He even told police officers, a clown could get away with murder. While there is no evidence that Gacy murdered his victims in clown costumes, the eerie photo of a smiling Gacy in face paint and colorful clown garb has been synonymous with his killings. In American Horror Story Freak Show, Twisty the Clown is a character loosely inspired by Gacy's Pogo the Clown. Wow, I didn't know that. John Wayne Gacy took the lives of 33 young men and boys, 6 of which have never been identified to this day. Gacy would lure these boys back to his house, sometimes under the pretense that they would discuss a job at his successful contracting business, or they were already working for him. Inside his house, he would often show them a magic trick with handcuffs and would encourage the boys to put the handcuffs on themselves, so he would show them how it was done. Once restrained, Gacy would carry out unspeakable crimes against these young men before murdering them and burying their remains on the property. It's terrible. The lot was so filled with human remains at one point that Gacy disposed of his last 4 victims in Des Plaines River. In telling the story of a monster like John Wayne Gacy, it's important not to forget that the bodies found in the house belonged to real people that had families that loved them. These young men and boys deserve more in life than they end up discarded in a crawl space of a cold-blooded serial killer. It's terrible. I've added the pictures and the names of the victims. They were between the ages of 14 and 32. Some of the unidentified boys, they're not sure of their age. Could be all the way up to age 32. There's been a platinum of documentaries and true crime stories that have covered Gacy's murders. John Wayne Gacy was married twice in his lifetime. His first wife, Marilyn Myers, he met while the two were working at the same shoe store and married in 1964. Myers would divorce Gacy following his prison sentence for sexual assault of 2 boys. She cited cruel and inhumane treatment for the divorce. In 1972, Gacy married childhood acquaintance Carol Hoff. Hoff was friends with John's sister, and she had even once gone on a date with him when she was 16. Hoff moved in with Gacy after their marriage, never knowing the home she lived in was the burial site of Gacy's first victim. In the years that followed Gacy's confession, Carol admitted that she had once found wallets of young men inside her husband's car, and he became enraged when she confronted him. She also noted a putrid smell in the attic shortly after moving in, but Gacy had told her it was a leaky sewer pipe. Hoff would divorce John in 1976, only 3.5 years after marrying. John Wayne Gacy fathered 2 children with ex-wife Marilyn Myers, Michael Gacy, 1967, and Christine Gacy, 1968. Little is known about Gacy's children because, like the rest of Gacy's family, they have tried to avoid the public eye. It's likely that both Michael and Christine have changed their names at some point in order to avoid being known as the children of a killer clown. Following his confessions of the murders and the unearthing of the burial crime scene at his home, John Wayne Gacy was convicted of 33 counts of murder in 1980. He was sentenced to death, which he deserved. In the years that followed his sentence, Gacy earned money while in prison by selling his crudely drawn self-portrait dressed as Pogo the Clown. Made a lot of money off of that. I don't think they let them do stuff like that anymore. They're not allowed to sell their stories. John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection in May of 1994. Wow. That's crazy. Well, my friends, that's the end of this story. It was a short one, but I figured it was pretty interesting to know what happened to this house. The house was demolished 4 months after John Wayne Gacy was arrested. It now has a new house and a new address. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.